Christi Julian here with the Mortgage Network with Nichole Eberhard with Remax Momentum, and we are going to be speaking about gathering tax documents to smoothly get into underwriting when you purchase a home. How are you today, Nichole?
I am fantastic. How are you doing?
It's wonderful. Would rather be at this little beach here,
I
though.
was gonna say, I'm enjoying our background today. It's very peaceful and exactly. I'd like to be watching the rolling waves come in, but at least it's sunny here in Colorado, so
True, true.
we'll take that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just dive right in. So when you're applying for a mortgage and you are self-employed, it's a little bit more documentation than when you're just an employee with a company. So you get a W-2, a paycheck stub, and the income is what the income is. But when you're self-employed, you could have just 1040s when you have like an LLC that you with different schedules. You can also have an S corporation when you have K1s that shows who's all have ownership of the property and, or excuse me, the business and how you're paid. So it's very important when you're talking to your loan originator to give them all the documentation so they can calculate your income correctly. There's a lot of different programs, but today we're going to specifically stay with the tax returns and what it looks like. So you're typically going to turn in 1040s, any schedules that go along with that, along with W-2s. And I always get asked, why W-2s? Well, if you're a husband and wife and the wife has a 9 to 5 job with a W-2, we want to be able to clearly identify that amount of money on the tax returns, and then we can move on our little merry way. So that's one of the reasons for the W-2s, because everything's going to match up, and it just makes it a lot simpler for the originator like myself to look at the income, and also when we go to underwriting with an actual underwriter. So if you do have an S corporation, you need to turn in a 1040, which is your personal, and then the business, which is an S corp, along with the K1s and any schedules along that. So again, people will come in, Nichole, and say, well, why do I have to give you all the schedules? Well, it's just like a piece to the pie. So there's certain numbers on different pages that don't add up. You're like, where is it? So it's on a schedule. So that's why just give it all to us. We will sort through it and get what you need. When after all of that is said and done, we'll go to closing. And when you go to closing, you get a closing disclosure. But when you're talking to any of us loan officers, we like to use acronyms because it's just what our world is. FHA, VA, USDA. So you'll also hear a closing disclosure called a CD. So you're wanting to look at the second page of that CD on Section A. And in Section A, we're not tax accountants. I'm not. So you do need to give this to your accountant and they can determine if any of those items in Section A can be a write-off for you. So please look at that. And then another important document that's in your benefit is the 1098 that you receive each year, which is the mortgage interest statement that you'll want to gather and give to your tax accountant because you're paying interest on the mortgage. And again, not licensed in that area, but I turn it in for my business profession. So it just goes and it gets on the returns. So what are your thoughts, Ms. Nichole?
The big thing for me is one, yes, Christy and I are not licensed in doing taxes whatsoever. So please take this. Everyone's situation is different. So please don't take this as 100%, solid information. Please get with your tax accountants, CPAs, or whoever you use to file your taxes with to answer your questions for your benefit. The biggest thing for me is to make sure you have all of your documents together before you file your taxes or before you go to your tax accountant. I can tell you personally, I have done this in previous years with my husband being a W-2 and myself being 1099. going to our tax person and being like, here's our papers, and then not having, investments or having our mortgage statements that have our interest that had been paid over the year. So make sure you have everything together to make it a little bit easier for your accountants to be able to process your tax returns as quickly and seamlessly as possible. It just makes everyone's life easier and you're not scrambling trying to find everything. I personally actually have a folder in my desk that anytime we get a tax document or anything, it literally says, whatever the year is and then taxes, and I just stick it in that little file. So then that way, when it comes to tax time, I literally just pull that file out of my desk and we're ready to go. No issues whatsoever. Yeah,
I
that's the
never
biggest
knew that about you, and now you know that I do the exact same thing.
And here's our qualities of OCD. Making sure, because I hate scrambling, trying to go through emails or log into different accounts and trying to download and print these reports and everything. And it's annoying. So I just, as soon as we get something in the mail and whether it says tax document or I know I'm going to need it for taxes, whether it's for my business for itemization purposes or what have you, everything goes in that folder. And then it is less of a headache for me. And I'm sure it's the same for you, that I can just be like, oh, here's all of our tax documents and we're ready to go. One less thing I have to stress or worry about. The other thing for this year, you are able to file your taxes between January 29th and April 15th. Just a little sidebar for that. I'm not going to go too far into it, but if you are not able to file your taxes by that time, you are able to file for an extension. But I highly recommend that if you feel that you are in a situation that you need to file for an extension, do that sooner rather than later. Definitely do not do it past the April 15th. Do it, soon as possible if you think you're going to be in that situation.
That's a great point, Nichole. Thank you for bringing that up because back to underwriting, if you don't have your tax returns filed after April 15th and you do not have that extension, our hands are tied. So you need to get that extension dated prior or on April 15th, and then that gives you that grace period till October 15th. Isn't that
I
correct?
believe October 15th is the correct date.
So then we can still help you refinance, purchase, whatever the situation might be within that time frame. So great point, because we do need, it depends on different programs, but let's just go with the norm, 2 years.
Let's just make a blanket statement that you need a paper trail for everything. And if you are needing to have that extension, it is okay. It happens all the time. Just make sure that it is, like Christi said, it is documented on or well before April 15th. So that way, if you are in that position, like she said, to do purchasing, refinance, or what have you, you don't have that gap, because there's nothing that Christi and her team can do if you have not filed that extension prior to April 15th. So just keep that in mind for that. And again, this is just tidbits of knowledge from us, the stuff that we've gone through over many, many years of personally doing, business, and what we've seen, and Christi handling all the loans and the tax stuff that she has to deal with. But best advice that we can both give you is talk with your CPAs, your tax advisors, or those in-person walk-in services. There's quite a few to list off of there. I know there's a lot of free service. There's a whole bunch of stuff for you. So please reach out to someone who is licensed and specifically focuses on taxes to answer all of your deep dive questions into your personal, into your personal taxes. Sorry, blank stare there for a second.
Absolutely. Well, this was just a short, sweet video just to help you guys out, some pointers to look at. Second page of that CD, and then also gather that 1098 mortgage interest statement to provide. If there's any questions that we can answer, please comment below. If you know somebody that has questions or need, please share and subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate it. And we're always here for you.
Absolutely. So what do we got going on next week, Christi?
Oh, thank you. What we're going to talk about next week is tips and tricks when purchasing and how to save for that down payment, closing cost, lots of good things. It might not be as much as you think it is.
Absolutely. look forward to seeing you guys next week. And like she said, please comment below if you have any suggestions for other videos that you actually, or topics that you are interested in, so we can review that and add that to our list for future videos. And if you could please share and subscribe this video, Christi and I would greatly appreciate it, so you can see our catalog of videos as we just continue to grow our channel. So hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.